Hi friends, and welcome back to another video. Today I am setting up my book journal for October, and if you hear my ultrasonic retainer cleaner in the background, no you don't. So sit back, light a candle, grab your favorite cozy blanket, maybe a hot tea, cocoa, apple cider, and let's just get into it. I'm super excited for this month's theme. These are all stickers from Caitlin Plans, as you know, longtime friend and fan of the channel. And I'm pairing it with this orange gingham plaid washi, some Simply Gilded Spotty Dotty washi, and my currently listening for this spread was All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, which is a phenomenal book. It's a YA memoir, which is a little bit weird, except, you know, if you're a 33-year-old writing a memoir, you only have so much to write a memoir about. But we're going to be setting up this very sort of seasonal fall spread. And so on the left-hand side of the page, I am setting up what would you really want to call this? It's kind of like a gallery wall style, kind of creepy living room. And this is a different take on how I usually set up my bullet journal, because normally there's a quote on the left-hand side and then the right-hand side it just says October bullet journal. But this time I really liked the sort of space that I'd set up, and there wasn't room for a quote. So things change. Honestly, she has these sort of like comfy armchair fireplace scenes for most seasons. She's done it for Christmas, for winter, and I think the original one was kind of like a springy bookish one. And that was really what jump-started my book journaling. It was one of those sets. And so on the right-hand side, I'm writing, I wish that every day was Saturday and that every month was October. Because, honestly, yeah, October is a really good month. At my jobs, everything gets super chaotic in September. October is like a breath of fresh air for like a week. And then it goes back to being chaotic. But let's be real. It's my life. If it wasn't chaotic, I don't really know what it would be. But my hopes are that October is going to be an enormous reading month. Usually I feel like March and October are the months in which I read the most books. I don't know why. In March it was usually spring break, so I'd be on a plane, and when I get on a plane, I just knock out books. But this month we've got our wedding, which is going to be incredibly stressful and also just incredible. I'm wondering what else there is. I know we're doing Owntober, Steph and I. And so what that entails is just reading books off your shelf. So I will say in my head, I'm kind of including my NetGalley shelf because it's a shelf. But any books that you have physically, digitally, or on audio, all of those count because you bought them and they are just sitting there waiting to be read. The plan also is to have some kind of cozy reading challenge or readathon with Shanna, Cozy Gray Library, on Instagram. But we still have to get that set up. As of now, we just know we want to do one. I'm also super excited because I'm finally doing a 2-page reading log, mostly because I really liked how in my end of year challenges video, I did lettering for the name of the challenge, right? And what I did after was I would letter in the name of the book. And so I thought that it could be fun if I lettered in the names of the books that I read this month rather than just writing them. We'll see how that works for some of the longer titles. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to do that or not. But another thing I could do, right, is I have a little more space, so I could add numbers in front of them, right? Which would actually be really helpful for calculating my totals at the end of the month, because right now I use a spreadsheet and I just take the rows, subtract them, and then add 1 because my spreadsheet starts at 2. But that's like, I don't know, it's the little things, right? I feel like, you know, with these spreads, when I add just like on the last one, I added that little boo. It just made my heart so happy. And I feel like that's what a big part of journaling is. It's just those tiny little things that give you just like this glimmer of happiness. Speaking of happiness and just sort of cozy fall beverages. So, like I said, we're getting married, which means we have a wedding registry and people are sending us stuff from it. So we registered for an electric kettle. And when I say that this has just revolutionized our life, because you can brew them to the exact temperature and it brews within like 2 minutes. For us, you know, we have an induction stove, and so it takes a while for the water inside to heat up because it takes a while for the metal to heat up. And so when Gil was making his coffee, because he does like pour over or Chemex coffee, stuff like that. I don't know. I don't drink coffee. We would have to wait forever for him to make coffee. Now it's done. Like, I love it. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, now we can go run errands. So I guess it's kind of a punishment for him. I'm not sure. Also, my NetGalley shelf this month, guys. Oh my god. So basically what happened was I joined a buddy read for Priory of the Orange Tree, and it really just like it set me back a couple days. And then I kept thinking, I was like, okay, so I wanna be doing my NetGalley, but I also want to be getting in the habit for Owntober, which I've been doing like Owntober kind of. But the problem is now that like I've been reading so many things, but none of them are on my NetGalley shelf, and like October is coming. And October is a big book month because a lot of the holiday books get released in September and October. And I have some chunky fantasies to get through, which is sad because when my NetGalley shelf doesn't have very much on it, I have a lot more flexibility to read what I want, and I request more books because I don't feel the pressure. So like, I think earlier this month I read Trials of the Sun Queen, and it was alright. I gave it 4 stars. I read it in like 2 hours. But I didn't request the second one because it was so long. Because I don't want to be reading tons of 500-page books in a month. I would rather read like tons of 300-page books. So that's where I'm at. The big chunky boy in October is going to be Curious Tides, which I've heard it described as, I think, what a Deadly Education meets Ninth House, which both are amazing dark academia books. Now, I mean, you should check triggers as always and stuff like that. But I've also heard that they talk about like water and tidal movements a lot. So I don't know how that's gonna go. I have Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson to read, which I wanted to read Tress of the Emerald Sea or Tress and the Emerald Sea, but I even bought the ebook. But I still haven't gotten around to it because my NetGalley's just been out of control. And I say this as a person who has a 92% ratio on NetGalley. It's just, they just keep coming. And there are still, like, I've got A Holly Jolly Ever After, which is the sequel to A Merry Little Meet Cute, which is a porn store Hallmark movie. That's what that one is. I don't know what this one is, but it's a sequel. And there's lots of YAs on my TBR as well. So I've got Friends Don't Fall in Love, Thin Air. Oh god, some other ones that I can't even think of. And I have a folder full of October widgets that I still need to deal with. I don't even know. Oh my god, why am I doing this to myself? But something that did stand out to me and that I need and want to rectify for my future months are that my October NetGalley reads are almost entirely by white authors, which is not good. In terms of what I've been reading, I still have been making an active effort to have 50% of my books that I read be BIPOC. And that means right now that I'm not reading October books. I read a December book, and lots of these things on my October TBR are November books because I have, for whatever reason, more diversity in my November books. So that means that these October books are going to get put on the back burner, and I just have to sort of be okay with that. But it also means that I'm reading more diversely, and I like that more than I dislike being late on a book review. Like, it's not the end of the world. A lot of people don't actually read the books they own. That's not a new phenomenon. But also, I'm really excited for a lot of these books. So, Next Door Nemesis by Alexa Martin, The Memory Librarian by Janelle Monáe. Like, I own this book. I still haven't read it. Obviously, The Dragon's Promise is gonna be on my TBR until I freaking read it. I own it. It's just the problem is that my library doesn't have the audiobook. Or no, they only have the audiobook. They don't have the ebook. So, I don't know. But then again, I have to finish Red Rising, which is the book I'm currently reading, and I keep falling asleep during it because I'm tired. And I'm wondering if I'm just going to be stuck reading it for the rest of my life. Because we're on night 4 of reading it, and it's not that long of a book. I'm just, like, exhausted. So, we'll see. We shall see. I felt like I just wanted to knock out some of my challenge books. So, I just need to hope and pray that some of these books also work for a challenge. Speaking of challenges, I would love to know, if you did Bookopoly this year, what your favorite prompt was. And if you didn't do Bookopoly this year, what prompt would you want for next year? Because Jess of Knit Plan Jess and I are going to start working on next year's Bookopoly board at Sunday Study Hall, which is the weekly productivity. I would call it an hour, except that last week we did it for 8 hours. So it's like a study session where you can hop on and hop off as you need. And this is when I do a lot of my filming, content planning, grocery shopping, laundry folding, except not laundry folding because I have laundry that's needed to be folded for like 2 days. And it's gonna be 4 days more before we actually get to it, if I'm being honest. Also, I thought that this was the cutest little detail. I'm gonna toot my horn for a second. It was adding the RIP TBR to the tombstone, because some of them do have like RIP and things on them, but this one didn't, and I thought it was hilarious. I was gonna put RIP NetGalley ratio, except that that's only gonna go down if I start accepting widgets, which I've been okay. I'm gonna be good. It's a safe space. But also, we need to talk about how freaking cute this cauldron is, because it was my favorite sticker. I was hoarding it. But we'll see how this spread ultimately turns out in my October reading stats video. I'm not sure if the pie charts are coming back. I think I'm going to do something a little bit different. Now, if you made it to the end of this video, I hope that you liked it. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. We're trying to do 2 a week now. We'll see how it goes. But for a variety of videos, Bujo, Laurel Denise, Moxie Life, and more. I hope that you have a great reading month, and as always, happy planning.